How much money did you make from your first startup?
There you go, Chris's.
Oh my God. Like I do I need to say this? This is public information, right?
Just for those who don't
the company
know.
was sold for 150 million.
That's not correct. We haven't been in a rush to say, hey, let's go to Nigeria, let's go to Ghana, because if it doesn't work here, guys,
We're still going to
let's stop doing things to make our investors happy. I'm not going to do that.
Have you ever considered a co-founder?
Man. I really struggle because most of the guys I was getting
so you actually
finance,
looked
I really
actively,
looked.
yeah,
So that's why I'm saying I dated, but it just didn't work out for me. Maybe I was looking in the wrong places.
Maybe.
Is Pezesha profitable?
I love that because I'm glad you asked that question. From day one when I started building this business, that was the goal.
Nice.
Okay.
And to answer your question, Mia, as a woman, it's not, it doesn't favor me. Even if I have done this before, it's been a lot of questions on valuation.
Yeah.
Your valuation is too high. And you're like, would they say that to a male founder? Yeah. Because we've seen stories of companies going down, and I ask them, what is your valuation? I'm like, wait a minute. What is your revenues? Are you profitable? Nowhere near. And then you hear the valuation, they raise that. So you're like, okay, you're able to get this valuation and you're not profitable.
And
you don't have the revenues we are generating. Yeah. So it sometimes you start to ask yourself, like, what's going on?
Yep.
Like, am I in the wrong business? To what is the thing? And then you realize very quickly that it's because you're a woman.
While I was now doing my research, I realized Popotepe also had a problem with Pezesha.
Yeah.
What was the problem?
We were providing credit to their merchants as float.
Okay.
But it so happened, whatever internal issues they were going through, the trust was broken because there was no visibility what was happening with our money. When you're running a payment business and money disappears.
Trust is the number.
Imagine today you wake up and you are M-Shwari
and then
you had
your money
1
disappears
million.
and M-Pesa.
So it's the same thing. Maybe it happened for you as a consumer, for us as a partner. People have said, Hilda is harsh in collecting because that's the business.
But you have to be, man.
But you got into this similar problem with market force.
Did you? I mean, seriously, you came to just get the tea.
No, but it's the two sides of the business.
So what do you want?
What happened at Market Force?
What do you want, Chris?
What happened at Market Force? It's just good to know.
It's there. It's out there. I mean, if you brought Tesh here to ask him as well, so maybe there's a fourth side of the story.
We should invite Tesh.
No, it's okay.
Market Force, what was in the public was trying to resolve this matter without going to the public. I think what happened in the last couple of years, the last 2 years, was they were going through their own issues as a business, and there was a breakdown of communication. When we tried to find ways to restructure the loan, they didn't get to a place where everyone was able to say there's a solution. In that spirit of trying to reconcile everything, it didn't. So then we took a stand. And the stand we took was doing what is right for Pezesha.
The business.
Yeah.
Okay, and so according to the article, said it's now resolved.
Well, I mean, we want to move on. I think people call it the next chapter.
Hey, welcome back to Startup Soko, where we connect you with some of the founders in Kenya. And today I'm so excited with the guest we have today. I've been trying to get her for a while, but we keep pushing. I think you'll do the best intro of yourself, and we'll add in where possible.
Yeah.
Karibu sana.
Thank you so much for having me here. I guess it had to happen today.
Yes, it had to.
It's been long overdue. I was like, okay, we're in May.
Yeah.
I can't tell how we're doing this in June.
Yeah.
And May is my birthday month.
Oh, happy birthday.
So I'm really excited.
Has it happened already?
Not yet.
Okay.
Next week.
Nice.
Yeah, my name is Hilda Mora. I'm the CEO and founder of Pezesha. Second time fintech entrepreneur. My first fintech, sold it when I was 24.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know what I was doing, trust me. I'm a software engineer by training. I'm an entrepreneur by calling. I think I
Nice.
like to say entrepreneurship chose me, I chose it back.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best marriage you can have in running a business. Yeah, so that's Hilda.
That's Hilda. Cool.
You know what question should start? How much money did you make from your first startup?
There you go, Chris's.
Oh my God, like I do I need to say this? This is public information, right?
I
Just for
know
those who don't
the company
know.
was sold for 150 million.
Not That's not correct.
That's not
You
correct.
see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe bloggers didn't do the right job. So tell us, how much was the company sold for?
I think Hungary, you can Google.
Give us a ballpark.
I mean it was definitely above 150 million.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, it was definitely above 150 million. We did a mix of cash and equity.
Okay.
Of course, cash was the bulk of it. But I think, just really rewarding at the time when we did this transaction and seeing the fact that what we had built, bootstrapped.
Yeah.
My first business, bootstrapped.
Bootstrapped. At 24 as well. That's like, what was I doing at 24?
I was trying to figure out life.
Really?
So that was honestly, I mean, pull all the money we got, at least what I got from it, into investment.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit for those guys who don't know about your fast fintech, what you were
Yeah.
doing.
Absolutely. So Wezatele was literally distribution company focused on driving efficiency and mobility and providing digital tools to small businesses.
Yep.
So we focused on retailers. So these are what they call the last mile distribution, and really helping them to, basically have the right tools that are going to help them to basically climb up the financial ladder.
Yeah.
And so we knew literally we didn't have money to give credit.
Okay.
We didn't have, money to help these guys to grow their businesses and inventory. And we also knew that, it's going to take time to really help them to build their credit history.
Yeah.
And so basically then where we needed to start was, hey, here is a mobile phone. Start recording your sales from this book that you have here. Start building your digital history.
Okay.
And then eventually you're going to get credit.
Yeah.
And so that's the journey that we embarked in Wezatele. We did this 2010 to 2015.
Oh, wow, 5 years.
And really it was a learning journey straight out of school. But for me, I had already worked in Coke. I was, definitely part of the iHub community. There's quite a lot of things happening at that time.
Yeah.
So, you could juggle almost 10 things.
Yeah.
It was just, the energy was amazing. So we did that for, pretty much, the first 2 years were all juggling, and then fully focused on Wezatele 3 years in.
Oh, okay.
So you'll actually say we literally did full-time Wezatele 2012 to
2015.
to 2015.
Okay.
Until when it was acquired. So
Yeah.
I think almost 90% of us were software engineers in that
Oh,
business.
wow. How big was the team?
I think we were around 15 by the time the acquisition happened.
Yeah.
That's great. Why didn't you take the money and go buy a house in Diani and decide,
Oh my God.
I've done my entrepreneurial thing.
know.
I've cashed out,
Yeah.
let me go live the life. Why not?
Wow. Looking back in hindsight, maybe I should have done that. Maybe, the problems and the challenges I'm having now in Pezesha, I'm like, seriously, to do it a second time, you must be crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm going
yeah.
mad, like
Oh.
seriously, but for good reasons. But
Yeah.
I didn't do that because, the entrepreneurship bug in me was just that was really the beginning.
Okay.
After
Yeah.
this transaction that we did in Wezatele, there was a lot of questions that I asked myself.
Yeah.
And I remember I literally, after that transaction happened, I took a train to Diani, actually, just to let you know what happened. And I started writing my book.
Oh,
yeah.
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 It's
Kenyan
hard to get
startup
your
journey.
book, by the way.
Yes, because
I tried to get in it, actually.
yeah, because I have it with universities mainly because my
Okay.
target is really young aspiring entrepreneurs because that's where my journey started
Yeah.
in uni. And anything outside that, honestly, I can't afford to get it
Yeah.
everywhere. So it's just a lot of work printing and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
production. So what I did is, the best I can do is who am I targeting?
And then
is
just
students.
Students, gotcha.
Yeah. But if you want it, I can
Yeah,
get you.
I'd love one.
Yeah,
Love a
awesome.
copy.
Would you do it a third time? Entrepreneur.
My friend, you're going to have to, if I do it at that time,
Yeah.
just know I'm crazy.
Certified.
Beyond Madare. I literally have had this conversation with myself, especially now when
Yeah.
I'm running Pezesha.
Yeah.
And every day, like when I face challenges because we're scaling, I've never run a business at scale.
Yeah.
This is the first time, 60 employees, 2 markets,
Wow.
investors, a lot of work, partners,
Yeah.
big partners, small partners, solo founder.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work. So, every time I pinch myself when it's really, really crazy and I'm stressed and I'm like, God, if I do this again,
Strike me with lightning or something.
like you just know that, I don't really, wish well for myself. Like those kind of conversations do come. But
Yeah.
I think, as entrepreneurs, we are like, I mean, maybe this is not the right analogy because I haven't yet been in this situation of, giving birth. So I don't know whether this is the right analogy to use. But of course, we all know about giving birth is not the most easy experience. And I always say, sometimes when you do it and you finish, forget.
Yeah.
Then you go back.
Then you
You're
got
like,
5 more others.
I
It's 6.
know. You're like, okay, so I was saying like the first pain was not even like,
Yeah.
and I think it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. You go through it once, like Wezatele for me was like, I was very young, growing up,
Yeah.
still trying to figure out my life, my purpose, what I want.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, if I continue to do this thing consistently with passion and conviction, you actually get there. So I
Yeah.
was like, I want to do it again because this is how you get to really figure it out. And
Yeah.
so then you do it again. Then you go to Pezesha. Then you're like, okay, oh man, did I just say that? Did I want to do this? Yeah. So I think for me, it's been a life of and a journey of purpose
Yeah. Oh,
and
nice.
conviction. I think since Wezatele.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. So now, any more questions on the first?
No, how, I think, does Wezatele have connection to Pezesha?
Yes.
Or how do you make that
That's a good
transition?
question.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think that this is the continuation of that journey
Oh,
I started.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, the journey and the book was never finished.
Because first with Wezatele, you didn't have the money. Now you have the money. You're like,
well,
okay.
it's not enough. It's never enough
Yeah,
because you're like, oh my, and did I just get into this thing again? Because as I said, my passion has been small businesses.
Small businesses. Yeah.
I have been working with small businesses since
Yeah.
my journey, not just entrepreneurship, but also in the corporate world.
Yeah.
When I worked for Coke, my job was really to go down and work with retailers
Yeah.
and figure out their problems and how technology will solve it. When I came to iHub, I was part of the research team and helping to build it up, and we basically, I was tasked with innovation.
Yep.
And I was working with small businesses again. Wezatele started out of the iHub, really was how do I continue to,
Yeah.
get it right to solve the problems of these small businesses. So
yeah.
Pezesha for me is not just a continuation of that journey. Is now doing it at scale,
Okay.
which is so
Nice.
scary.
Yeah. What's scary about it?
Oh man, everything from figuring it out from an infrastructure level, because there's a lot of pieces. It's taken us 7 years to really build the infrastructure we have.
Oh, nice.
We've built slow at Pezesha. We haven't raised, in the initial stages, we didn't raise much money because we were building.
Yeah.
And that's what we focused on. And I told my team, no,
No.
we're not going to go and raise crazy money
Yeah.
because we're not ready for that. And I remember there's a lot of VCs who reached out.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, you have a track record. We want to put money because we know, you've done this before. And I
Before, yeah.
said, no, I still don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Until then, I'll come back to you,
Yeah.
which is exactly what we did. So by the time we were raising, the bigger round we did in 2022,
Yep.
we were ready. And we knew the infrastructure was now ready. And and you can imagine 7 years. It took
Yeah,
us
it took us
almost 7 years to get to
So
get.
you are bootstrapping the.
Well, we got seed capital.
Okay. Yeah.
And really most of it was from angels and African VCs. So if you look at our cap table and our initial investment, it was really people who knew me.
Okay,
And
yeah.
they had worked with me in the past.
In the past,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they came in and said, we want to follow you where you go.
Yeah.
So did
And,
you take all your money?
no,
from
no,
the-
no.
There's still hopes of going
like
to
Elon Musk.
Diane.
I mean, honestly, I think I would be more miserable now in terms of thinking about how hard this journey is.
Yeah. If you had put it.
I mean, of course, I invested a lot, and we'll talk about that when you talk about my hobbies and
Yeah.
and the stuff that I'm doing there. Because I think most of my money also went into investing. Of course, I did invest in Pezesha.
Yeah.
I was the first investor.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
put in money, and I also put in a lot of my time.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think anything else was, I didn't take a holiday to Diani, unfortunately. I'm still like postponing it. I'm like, it's going to come, it's going to come, it's going to come.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. There is one initial feature of Pezesha where you rate crowdfunding or
Yeah.
money from people, and then you'll take that money and invest it in businesses. You did discontinue that.
I did. We did.
Why?
Why?
Let me just say this first. 7 years, think about it, 7 pivots.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You literally, we've been pivoting. And I think also, like, for me, I think that's one of the biggest success that we've had is we've had a very resilience approach in pivoting.
Pivots, yeah.
This whole, how do we solve this working capital problem and really still build local capital markets?
Okay.
Because if you continue to raise capital globally, I mean, there's challenges, it's
Yeah.
expensive.
Exchange rates.
Yeah.
Exchange
It's not
rates
sustainable.
and,
Yeah.
how do you do it at scale?
Yeah.
I really wanted to think about the scale conversation from the beginning.
Yeah.
So crowdfunding was meant to solve the whole premise of local capital markets. So if you remember, we actually went to Capital Markets Authority and we got approved.
Oh, nice.
And we were the first fintech to exit the Capital Markets Authority Sandbox program.
Yeah.
And, they've built frameworks around our successes and our
nice.
learnings.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a big success. Then when we tested it at scale, there was a problem because something was broken on the local capital markets. Banks were still, asking for collateral.
Yep.
Getting everyone to understand that the SMEs we had credit scored were proven. And, what they just needed to come in is to trust our system.
Yeah.
So the work we've really done with my team is building a trust system.
Cool.
So the crowdfunding model, what really came out of it as a success from that pivot was we built a trust infrastructure that we can now say, the guys who did not want to use it at that time now are
they're
using
like,
it.
yeah.
So if I have 50K, I can give Pezesha and say like, hey, invest it. Give me, I don't know, 5-10% after a certain period.
Well, we the individual peer-to-peer is definitely something we've tried.
Okay.
But it's also very cumbersome, to manage. We really need like a whole entire treasury unit to manage this. So what we did is we're just working with institutional investors right now.
Okay.
I mean, we've basically got an individual lenders who've created like a syndicate.
Yep.
And they've come to us and said, hey, here's money, you can put it in this vehicle. And so we help them as well. Yeah, we help them as well because now we've built the structures and the infrastructure as well to do that.
So now you have like banks would come and say, no, we have 100 million. You're the best people to distribute this
Absolutely.
money.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's mostly wholesale.
Okay.
Capital is mainly wholesales, and of course, VCs
Yep.
debt as well.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, what really excites me about the journey this far is the fact that now, we also have local banks
Oh, nice.
who are giving us capital.
They're giving you capital.
Because we've validated, we're regulated.
Yeah.
And of course, we know the regulations came very recently. We've been able to validate, our portfolio quality, and we've gone through hardships to be able to build a very strong
Hey, who's
model.
regulating you, CMA or CBK?
CBK.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Cool. I think you were talking about the scaling challenges. Let's maybe just
Yeah.
touch on that a little bit. Yeah. What
Yeah. So
and how you're solving them.
Yeah. So scaling is, they say building is hard, but
Yeah.
scaling is definitely harder. If you crack scaling, I think you definitely have a very
Successful,
sustainable,
yeah.
a successful business.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where we are as Pezesha. We are seeing all these moving pieces, and we are like, okay, so where do you put this piece? Where do you crack this in the puzzle? And I think, I will just summarize it into three. The biggest challenges. Otherwise, I'll have to write my second book. Yeah. In this podcast.
It's okay. We like long conversations.
I
But yeah,
know,
summarize is
yes,
fine.
Yes. So I think the first one is, of course, really building this infrastructure. We're solving a working capital problem for SMEs at Pezesha.
Yeah.
It's I don't know how to define hard anymore, because working capital problems, as you build this business, you realize it's not just for Pezesha to fix this problem.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Then those are partners.
it's an
stakeholders.
ecosystem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conversation.
Yeah.
And so we barely scratched the surface in
interesting,
terms
yeah.
of building this working capital 7 years in. And we're still building. So you can already imagine the work that my team and I are putting every day to really get it right.
Yeah.
We're talking to our customers. We've overly invested in data science.
Yeah.
That's our biggest team in Pezesha with tech.
Yeah.
We've continuously engaged partners who have quite a bigger distribution, which is what we're doing now to
Yeah.
better understand. So it's still very challenging to get this infrastructure to scale
Yeah.
in the markets where we exist, and to go deeper. And of course, in new markets.
Yeah.
We are currently looking at East Africa. We're a Pan-Africa business first. And so for us, we haven't been in a rush to say, hey, let's go to Nigeria, let's go to Ghana, because if it doesn't work here, guys,
We're still good.
let's stop doing things to make our investors happy. I'm not
Happy,
going to
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say to my investors, hey, I'm going to Nigeria because, I'm about to raise Series A. Please,
Yeah. That's
my friend,
Yeah.
if I cannot be able to make Kenya work,
Yeah, you shouldn't.
there's no way I'll make Nigeria work. So that's been our approach. And then the second biggest challenge is regulation. And while Kenya, we've figured it out, it's always still, a lot of work to engage the regulators. And let me be honest, it has taken us almost 6 months to get regulatory approval for some of the partnerships that we currently have.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Because you still have to go back to CBK, because we are a B2B player.
Yeah.
So every regulated entity we work with, we have to go back to CBK.
Well.
Now, imagine you are this agile fintech.
Yeah, we're like,
Who wants things to move overnight?
Yeah.
Hilda is like, can you push ship code?
Yeah.
Let's ship. But CBK doesn't move like that.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They move at their own pace.
Yeah, and we basically, for some of the work we've done in the embedded finance space, which is really our forte and
Yeah.
our niche, CBK is also understanding that space for the first time.
Yeah.
So it took them a long time to engage us and come to our business and ask, what is this embedded finance?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What is it that you're doing? How do you collect data? How do you integrate with partners? And so one of the exciting things is, we've also been part of building the frameworks,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
that are going to dictate, the next people who walk in and say they want to get,
Yeah.
You're like hustler fund for business.
Well, I don't know if that's the right definition, but we're basically, a hustler fund?
No.
I don't know, because
I think the government was launching hustler funds for business.
yeah,
would
but
never trust the
we
government. It's a difference.
well, I think government has a role to play, but I
Yeah,
don't
but they
think
shouldn't be the
they
ones.
shouldn't be. This is
Yeah.
Player.
private sector,
Yeah.
does a lot of work in
Yeah.
figuring it out. And I say it's taken us 7 years. So can you imagine how long it's
long
going to
does it
take the
take
government to figure out Hustler?
Maybe we'll have another government in 7 years.
Maybe, or we will.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think the regulation piece is always
Tricky.
a moving
Yeah.
target.
Yeah.
In a fintech world.
Yeah.
If as long as you're in the fintech space, it's just definitely gonna be something you have to think about. We have an internal compliance team. I mean, I never ever thought, honestly,
Okay.
I would be having
I complaints.
a compliance team
Yeah.
in Pezesha. Like seriously,
Yeah.
this is things you never thought, because I'm a software engineer. I thought, like I will continue with this journey just building. Now you're building compliance. You're like, wait a minute. I walk in the office and I'm like, there's a compliance department that I have to talk to.
Yeah.
You're like, what is this?
But that's responsible.
Exactly.
It's-
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
have to do the right.
Yeah,
we have to do the right thing. And then of course the third thing I think is people.
People.
People is the currency.
Yep.
People is a currency. People is the biggest asset. And, it's not just about people. It's about finding people that want
The right
you,
ones. Yeah.
and finding people that want to come and join your madness
Yeah.
and be part of building something hard
Yeah.
that possibly has never been done before.
Yeah.
Having problems hiring.
If you're running a business
Yeah.
and you
the
don't
biggest
have
problem.
problems hiring,
Yeah.
then you're not building. My view.
Okay. Maybe
Because-
some companies have too much. I'm sure if Safaricom puts up an ad for a job to get like
You think
1,000.
so?
Lots of options.
You think so? I don't think so. I think for certain roles, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for certain roles like data science, it's still very competitive.
Yeah.
Because we are all fighting for the same people.
Yeah.
So for me, my job is then where I sit is always to think about how do I retain my team, the best top talent? How do I make sure that they have, they're sold in the vision?
Yeah.
Continuously talking to them, continuously engaging them, in the ownership of that vision.
So yeah.
So it's a lot of work. So and that's why I said it's not just about people. It's an extra layer of getting the right,
Right
people,
people with the right
who,
mindset.
who want to be part of
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Because people can come for the salary.
Yes.
Oh, Pezesha has raised, let's go. Yeah?
Or I was about to comment how people say that now big companies, multinationals are coming into the local market and taking away the talent away
yeah.
from startups.
Sorry for another day, another podcast. Because you wake up one day and you're like, okay, my devs are gone. What
They've
do I
gone
do?
to Microsoft.
But then the beauty about it is, things are stabilizing and taking their shape now.
Yeah.
And it's not so much about, multinational versus small. I think now it's about
The right
at least also like from what I've seen, even the best of the best, is they're coming where they believe.
Yeah.
The vision is bigger. It's challenging enough, and the founder or the person driving that vision
Yeah, you believe in them.
understands it and can be able to take us to the show.
Yeah. Totally agree.
And I still have certain people in my team, and I'm like, okay, what are they still
Doing.
silently? I ask myself that question, and I'm like, if you ever get,
It's okay.
you can tell me.
Yeah.
And it never comes. It never comes.
that's a
So
good
so I
sign.
think, for me, I think, of course challenges are there.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think for my management team, what I call the leadership team, we're very aligned in where we are, what we want to do, and where we want this company to go.
Nice. Have you ever considered a co-founder?
Man, I will definitely, that will be the first chapter in my book.
Tell us.
My
You can
second
start the chapter here. Yeah.
Definitely, for sure, because my first company was a tele. I had two co-founders, Sam Kitonyi
Yeah.
and Newton Gitonga.
Yeah.
And awesome people.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I were to do this again, I will do it with them.
Yeah.
They really taught me a lot because they had more experience than I did.
Yeah.
But they still believed in me
Yeah.
to run the business and the vision. And I came and I said, this is what I want to do. Some had the same, vision. So we joined hands. And Newton, of course, we were together in Strathmore. Awesome journey. I think, of course, we had our ups and downs.
Yeah.
it's normal.
It's life, yeah.
Now, Pezesha, fintech, fintech, big ambition, bigger impact. I was like, I get the right person
Yeah.
who's gonna help me to get there.
Yeah.
My strength is in tech, and everything I have touched where technology and innovation collide. I think that's where I have been able to do really well. Now,
Yeah.
when it comes to the fin side of it,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
not my forte. And so from the onset, I knew I had to get someone who would complement me
Yeah.
and have more of the finance
Finance.
side. So, it's just like a marriage and dating. So I started dating people and all these guys were bankers. I was like, hey, can you move? Can you leave your cool job and come and, there's no, it's just shares here. We start and we make this thing run. Hey, I'm going to leave my bonuses. I'm going to
then
leave.
leave,
So
yeah, all that, yeah.
I really struggle because most of the guys I was getting
so you
in
actually
finance,
looked
I really
actively,
looked.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. I dated, but it just
Nothing.
didn't work out for me. Maybe I was looking in the wrong places.
Maybe. Are you still
And-
looking?
It's too late.
You're doing it on your own.
It's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Though that said, I'm definitely always looking for the right people in the team.
Okay. Yeah.
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 The right leaders. That was interesting. And that's what I'm saying. It will be the first chapter because there's a lot of stories there to tell, interesting stories. And then you realize very quickly that I was just not going anywhere with this conversation. So what I did is then I quickly also started being the fin hat of the business, which was too much at some point.
Yeah.
I'm a self-taught finance person, started getting the right people to come in and help me,
Yeah.
mentors. The board that I built early on was meant to complement that piece.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Smart.
So the board of Pezesha in the early days, of course, is transitioned over time. I have an awesome board.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take your problems away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that initial board, what I did is then to say, I'm not getting this person. So let me make sure that the board
Yeah.
complements, and they had all finance background.
Oh, cool.
And so really, really we worked very well together. 7 years down the line, I still am looking for, very strong finance people
Yeah.
always, just to continue to fill that gap. It's a lot of work, but it's also very important for our business now more than ever.
Yeah.
And that's why it's become very apparent that, we still have, as we grow and scale, it becomes a very important skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question on the first challenge you mentioned about scaling. As you go to different industries, they have different dynamics. Which is the best industry to lend to? Which is the worst industry to lend to?
Oh, man. In my second life, I'm definitely going to be a data scientist.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe my third life.
Join Chris. Yeah.
Because it's first, second, third life. Yeah.
Yeah.
In my third life,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be a data scientist.
Yeah.
I'm very, very intimate with data.
Yeah.
And I think also that's our strategy of success in Pezesha.
Interesting.
Like it's not just about the data team. I'm also very involved in data. And any decision I make
Yeah. Use data.
really has to be data driven. My team has done an amazing job to feed me with data, but I also look at it daily. I would say because we have intentionally supported industries that have gonna generate the greatest impacts, where these informal businesses are, majority of them are in retail and e-commerce.
Okay.
So it was almost natural for us to start there. Yeah. I mean, honestly, very, very good repayment behaviors above 98%.
Okay. I see.
Because when you do it in a controlled environment, which is our approach at Pezesha,
Yeah.
embedded finance,
Okay.
you get the results.
Okay. Perhaps some few people don't know about embedded finance. So
Embedded finance is it's a jargon word it's now like the sexy word in fintech and many other things, AI, another
Yeah.
story. But embedded finance actually has been there.
Yeah.
It's just that people were calling it different names.
Yeah.
But it's really the convergence of traditional world and the digital world coming
Yeah.
together to drive, productive credit. So, case in point, The retailer down in Kawangware wants to place an order from Coca-Cola to buy, crates of, soda or whatever for the day, for the week. They have an interface, whatever interface that they use to go and order. And they now choose M-Pesa, cash, credit as a payment method. Yeah. So when they choose credit as a payment method, the two systems that have integrated from a traditional manual process, and ours, which is now fully digital.
Yeah.
How credit is, is disbursed and enabled.
Yeah.
Then those two worlds, seamlessly allow the customer to pay for the goods via credit. Then those then we take over that order as credit, and then we process it. We pay the supplier. The supplier delivers the goods. The retailer pays us.
Yeah.
So in simple terms, I really tried. But I
very
was going
clear.
to try and use APIs.
No.
And then I remembered, okay, this is when you know.
So in this, you always have to work with the supplier.
You're working with a value chain.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a supplier. It could be like in our scenario, we've done where there's no supplier, we've given the infrastructure directly. Yeah.
Okay.
We've given the infrastructure, and that's what we call Pezesha 2.0. So you come to Pezesha, you can put your orders, you can put your information. We can check our database because we now have so much information to know who supplies this and who supplies this.
Yeah.
And then we can finance you directly.
Oh, nice.
We can do invoice discounting. We can do LPO financing. We can do, what is it called? We can do inventory financing. Anything that rotates around our value chain. Now we can be able to do it even at a bigger scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Pezesha profitable?
I love that because I'm glad you asked that question because, from day one when I started building this business, that was the goal.
Nice.
Okay.
And to answer your question, we are.
That's great. This is the
And,
second startup that's profitable.
Third, maybe. Pick up Ntani, Bupas.
Oh, yeah, pick up Tiny Boopers and now Pezesha.
Yeah. So it's been very intentional.
Okay.
Very intentional. And I have, to be honest, I have lost a lot of opportunities, especially on the fundraising side, because I chose this route.
Okay.
And
Because you chose the route of profitability.
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Fintech is a very fast-moving industry. And it's also very competitive.
Yeah.
So if you're going to raise money and investors, at least before COVID and before everything happens, when they were looking at the numbers, it was a GMV story.
Yeah.
So I didn't have GMV.
Yep.
I was like, oh, we are making profit and we are about to break. It was like, Hilda, please.
How long did it take you to be profitable?
Well, I will say it's always a process because you can, like right now we are scaling up.
Yeah.
You'll find, yes, you've been profitable, but we have these big projects where we need to, at least in the initial stage, get the right people, get
invest
the
in
right
them.
talent. So something could break at some point.
Yeah.
But if you can, like right now, really our goal is consistently ensure that is the pattern, with or without this, So for me, it's a question of, if I hire 10 salespeople tomorrow and tell them go and bring in 50 suppliers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I already know one marketing person at Pezesha can bring you at least 3 suppliers.
Yeah.
So scale then means, I'm going to raise money because I've validated. I just now want to get, 10 or 50
Repeatable,
or whatever
yeah.
because I want this thing to scale and I have money in the bank to
Yeah.
lend. So it's never, it's never like we fixed it, It's like you continue to play around with those variables.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're profitable, sometimes you're breaking even, and
Yes.
a project comes in, you make a loss for a bit.
And then you figure out the unit of economics and
Yeah.
then you balance it off. But I will say, this year, definitely very consistent.
Okay.
given the partners we're working with,
Yeah.
very big partners from banks to telcos. We've also built our own infrastructure, as I've mentioned. It's an entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
SMEs come in, they get everything they need from that ecosystem. That has given us a lot of advantage because we are able not only just to offer value to these SMEs, retain them, but also now they keep on coming back.
Yeah.
So the secret is actually your customers coming back.
Yeah. You know, one thing that has in common with all these guys who are profitable, it's like it's a business. You know, sometimes you talk to these founders and they're really focused on the product and the tech, and it's like, bro,
Yeah.
it's a business. Let's remember, you're running a business. Yeah, which is like super interesting. I just wanted to touch on, I mean, your journey on raising and how that's been as a
Yeah.
black woman, as I want to say. Yeah.
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 No, I mean, definitely chapter 2.
We're giving
Yes,
snapshots
definitely
of this
chapter
book
two,
of yours.
you know,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hopefully, this time it's not only for university students, because
No. Of course. I think. I mean, Pezesha has taught me a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of unknowns, a lot of things that I never ever thought I would do,
Yeah.
including fundraising. And you do it at scale, and you're like, wait a minute, what happened here? As I said, we've been building slowly.
Yep.
For the last 7
7
years,
years.
and until only in 2022, that's when we decided to do our pre-series A. And you know, there's this comparison I like to give of Pezesha's view of the way we look at things is we are conifers. I don't know if you know conifers, the plant.
No, please let me. I love plants, but that's one I don't know. Does it have another name?
Local name.
I don't know. Maybe it does,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I haven't.
We'll look it up. Yeah.
It should have another name. And then there is what is it called? I forget the name. But conifers, really, the way they grow as a plant is they're not necessarily favored in their early growth.
It's a
They
harsh
go through a lot
environment.
of harsh environment, hardships, but they survive too.
The tenacity. Yeah.
They survive. You know, they're just like, we have to survive. We are fighting to survive. And they basically, you know, are going through this premise, what is called the roundaboutness, you know, which is they're just playing around with things. They are trying out different things. They're failing. They're coming back. They're pivoting. You know, that's
Yeah.
been Pezesha. So, you know, I think fundraising for us has been really a journey because you might basically say, you know, you've done it before, so you should be able
Should
to
be able to do
raise.
it here again.
No, because one, of course, Pezesha is much more bigger in its vision, in its way of doing things. It's much more competitive now.
Yeah.
The market is much more harder compared to back then, even when we bootstrapped. I think that the competition is definitely there, especially in the consumer space,
Yeah.
B2C. So there's quite a lot of digital lending is just a flooded space. So it doesn't matter. Investors don't look at it like, oh, Pezesha is in B2B. They look at it as fintech.
Yeah.
What's happening in the fintech space? So for us, I mean, as I said, we were very blessed. And I don't know about from research, you know, I think we're among the few fintechs that have raised good local capital, both debt and equity. Because if you look at our initial capital, it actually came from the local market. You know, we raised from angels. We also now have raised from local banks. So,
Oh wow, banks.
yeah, as well because of our journey of profitability.
Yeah.
Seed round, we raised from, you know, the African market. We also wanted to really, because, you know, as a Pan-African business, we wanted to get investors who understand our vision and they can come and support us. So our seed round, for example, was led by Consonance, who is really, you know, very, very intimate into our vision and mission. If you look at their stories, really working capital for SMEs, even
Yeah.
across the work they have done in Africa. So very strategic. Now, at the back of COVID, we tried to do this pre-Series A round, which we closed in 2022. The lead investor pulled out because of COVID. Yeah, so it was really tough times because, you know, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start. But I think the resilience that we had, which is now the conifers, they are really
Okay,
built
got you.
on resilience. They have a lot of resilience. And we really, you know, I had to really get my team together. We were a very small team at that time, you know, maybe 20, 25. So really help them to understand that, you know, we really have to get to the show and the things we needed to do. One of it was really to just sacrifice, you know, and it was painful. But we made it through. I mean, that's why we're here. And now, 2022, when we were doing our pre-Series A, I think, you know, there was a lot of great things that came out of that COVID time because, of course, for us, it was, we have to make this thing work. And so we really built a very strong business model and we identified our niche at that particular time, which was embedded finance.
Embedded finance, yeah.
Because at that time, if you remember, value chains were now coming together. Credit was shrinking. If you were in a value chain, you know, your problem possibly, and the only thing you needed to figure it out was how do I retain my customers and my retailers so that they don't die.
Yes.
Because if they die,
Your business
they will
is-
never come back again.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the value chains, then banks were not interested to lend
Yeah.
at that particular time because of the risk.
High risk, yeah.
So they came to people like us and they said, hey, Hilda, can you just help us to keep the value chain alive?
Yeah.
And then I was like, why not? And who else is going to do this if it's not me?
And you understand that
Yes.
space really well, yeah.
So we did that, you know, we started with the Trigger Foods, Market Force, and the rest. And we said, we're going to make sure that these value chains survive. So really that was the premise at which we came into the embedded finance model. And we cracked it. We learned a lot. We've learned a lot, by the way. We're still learning. But the beauty about it is because we figured that niche, we were able then to raise our pre-Series A based on that niche. Because investors who came in, we closed that round in 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's really quick.
Because of the fact that our numbers made sense. Our unit of economics were very stable.
Yeah.
We had a very solid team. Yeah. Which is still the same team that's there.
Yeah.
We had, you know, really, you know, figured out the scaling aspect of it, and we just needed the right people to back us. And so Women Were Banking led that round. We closed $11 million pre-Series A. And, you know, I think the beauty about it is also like that we actually, you know, looking back in hindsight, I think we raised at the right time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's really helped us as well to really just ensure that we continue to capitalize our growth and now also raise money from local banks to reduce the FX situation that's currently happening. So our dollars now, you know, literally our collateral. You know, and helping us to really grow the business because we are profitable. So we really don't have to necessarily, you know, reduce or shrink our runway because of the macro situation. But what I will say is, it sounds very easy. You know, you close around in 2 months. Wow.
That's good.
But the challenges that come with that is as a woman, it's not, it doesn't favor me, even if I have done this before. It's been a lot of questions on valuation.
Yeah.
You know, your valuation is too high, and you're like, you know, would they say that to a male founder? Yeah, because we've seen stories of companies going down, and I ask them, "What is your valuation?" I'm like, "Wait a minute,
How?
you know, what is your revenues? Are you profitable?" Nowhere near. And then you hear the valuation, they raise that, so you're like, okay, you're able to get this valuation, and you're not profitable. And,
Yeah, it's
and you don't have the revenues we are generating. Yeah, so it sometimes you start to ask yourself, like, what's going on?
Yep.
Like, am I in the wrong business? To what is the thing? And then you realize very quickly that it's because you're a woman. In most cases,
They can squeeze you.
yeah, it's like, you know, like you should be conservative. You shouldn't be putting like high numbers on the table. I think for me, that's something I really faced, to be honest, the valuation conversation.
Yeah.
And I've talked
And do you
about
think it's
it very
worse?
openly.
Not worse, but maybe because you're an African woman, do you think like white women have a different ease to like?
Well, I may not have the stats,
Yeah.
but it could be also
Yeah.
a bit much more easier for them.
Yeah.
But I don't have the stats to confirm that. But for sure, I mean, if you look at some of the companies that I've raised, maybe not in fintech, but in other industries, you can actually see that the evaluation is treated completely different.
Yep.
Because of where they sit. But I always say, the only way to fight these challenges is to build a profitable
And get
business.
better. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
really make it work.
Yeah.
And guess what? My next life, I might not necessarily, be crazy enough to start another business, but I will definitely be supporting women businesses with
Amazing.
my VC fund.
But you said your next life you're a data scientist.
She has many lives.
Wait,
writing a book.
Let me tell you.
This book, I'm waiting for the book.
You can as well be an entrepreneur in a different form.
Yeah.
As I said, it's a calling.
Yeah.
So I will be having my farm there and farming my strawberries,
Nice.
my VC fund there, investing in companies.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, this energy, has to be put somewhere. So you're going to have to maybe, put in all the data science into these companies. And, it has to be an ecosystem in that thinking. So don't worry, I'll still be a data scientist in my thinking.
You can mentor her, Chris.
Yes, absolutely.
I can try.
Yes.
Then she can mentor me
On business,
I know. In fact, that's a good point you say, because, I keep on asking myself, why don't we have a school? Is there a school for entrepreneurship?
I don't think they should be. You just go out and there should be some guidance, I think. But I think you learn more as you do.
Yeah.
You learn more as you do, but I think if literally the 844 system had a way of
Well, it's true.
bringing more entrepreneurs,
And they think about
Yeah.
Indian families, Somali families. These
Yeah.
guys are
Yeah, but
taken
they-
to manage their
but they
father's
have a-
business
they
from
have
a
a lot
small
of,
young age.
apprenticeship as
Yeah,
they grow up.
exactly.
No, absolutely. So
Yeah.
that's
So maybe that's what it is.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I was getting to. Apprenticeship is
It's important.
is very important. And if you ask me, like the problems we're solving in Pezesha, which is working capital, it's first an inequalities problem.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, you
That's so
solve
true.
this by education. You
Yeah.
solve this by the culture change.
Yeah.
The education system. It starts there. So I think for me, there's much more to do from this journey and
Yeah.
the stuff we're doing, but also post this journey. So it doesn't stop.
Now, as you distribute money in the embedded finance, you're bound to have problems. The first problem I'd like to know about is between Pezesha and Popote Pay.
Chris's favorite.
No, I got into, I was using Popote Pay
Yeah.
because I was looking for a budgeting app, and I was like, oh, I can put my expenses there,
Yeah.
and then I put in my money, and then every month I can decide. Actually, it was automated. You can send money to different people, and I was like, this will solve like so much of my problems.
Yeah.
Until one time I put in my money there,
And you never got it out.
I could not get it out. It went by like tech problem.
Yeah.
3 days, 1 week, 1 month. I had to go write a blog post, a very
Nasty one.
nasty one, so that someone from
Did you get sorted?
someone after the blog went
Viral.
someone which I think was like, I think a CFO or somebody that called me like, we just read your thing, we understand this is what is happening, can you allow us 2 or 3 days to sort this out? And then after 2 days I got my money back.
Wow.
While I was now doing my research, I realized Popote Pay also had a problem with possession.
Yeah.
What was the problem?
Chris is always bringing the tea.
Oh man. Well, I mean, I don't know where to start because
From the beginning.
we support a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
Okay.
We support payment businesses. We support FMCG businesses. We are an infrastructure.
Yeah.
So whoever integrates with us and uses us for the credit piece, whether it's your merchants, whether it's your payment or whatever, as long as we've done what we needed to do,
Yeah, due
we
diligence.
go ahead. So the problem comes in when there's a misalignment of trust. You know, when that trust is broken, because remember, all these things we are building, it's a trust
System.
system. So when the trust is broken, then problems begin. So I don't want to go into the details, but we worked with Popote and we were providing credit to their merchants as float.
Okay.
You know, but it so happened, whatever internal issues they were going through, you know, the trust was broken because there was no visibility what was happening with our money. And so, you know, my team definitely does daily reconciliations. And when you do your reconciliations and something is not making sense, then you ask questions.
Yeah.
So I think in that process, then we needed accountability, and because we are a finance business, we have to make sure our books balance.
Yep.
So in that process, of course, you know, whatever, I guess it's possibly part of what you're going through, you know, like all these things came together, and I think they could have handled it better. Not the one running that business, but when you're running a payment business and and money disappears.
Trust is the number. yeah.
Imagine today you wake up and you are Mshwari,
And then
Yeah,
you
zero.
had
Your money
1
disappears
million.
on M-Pesa.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. You maybe it happened for you as a consumer, for us as a partner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what I can say is we have resolved the matter.
Like,
Yeah.
Are
let's
they
just say,
still-
did the matter go to court, I think? Did it?
I mean, our lawyers will do what is right, always.
Okay. So did you resolve it out of court?
I don't know what happened in between, but we went to court and they agreed to a payment plan.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So the fintech business is not that easy when it comes to recovery.
You know, the business is not in giving the money, it's in collecting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And people have said, oh, Hilda is harsh in collecting, because that's the business.
But you have to be, man. you have to be.
You know, when
sometimes people think you're doing them a favor, especially your collects. You're like, we know this, even when you're lending a friend. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we go to court,
Yeah.
It's what you have to do.
we are not. We are in business. We are doing what needs to be
as I
done.
said, she's running a business.
Yes.
I get it.
So when people come and ask me, oh, Hilda, you know, you should
your
just
vibes,
relax.
how?
I'm
No.
like,
I'm with Hilda
I
on this
am in
one.
the business of collecting.
Yeah.
You know,
Has this gotten you enemies?
you're gonna have to, if you're collecting. Imagine if today your landlord comes to your house and knocks and tells you, "Can you pay me my money?" You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can always just make sure that you know when they are coming and they're going
You
to
know
be
to-
earning.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
so
I think she needs a nickname. The Iron Lady of
The
Tech.
Iron Lady of Tech.
well, I mean, Margaret Thatcher changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
By being the Iron Lady. So I think the intention is really just doing the right thing.
Okay.
And making sure that people understand that a business is processes and structures and governance.
Yeah. That's all
And
it is.
friendship is
Not business.
It's there. And it can
business.
happen, it can continue. But when it comes to business, let's
Yeah.
just make sure that we separate those two things. So for me, I've been very clear. Yeah. I have investors, I have a very strong board, I am accountable to them on everything that happens.
Yeah.
And any debt that is above a certain threshold, I have to report to the board. Certain sanctions have to be done. So, in short, what I'm just saying is, if you're going to run a business, fintech business, Chris, in your next life, do not think that it is a friendship.
I should be ready to be
ready
hated.
to
Yeah, be ready.
burn bridges. I mean, if you look at even banks,
Yeah.
let's not even talk about the M-Pesas. If you look at even the way banks operate, it's like fintechs are the enemies. You know, you go in and they look at you and they say, hey, you're a fintech. please.
You're taking
Get
our
out. You're
customers.
taking our customers. Yeah. So until the regulation kicked in,
Yeah.
some of these banks changed their mindset. Yeah. So where there is governance, where there is structures, where there is trust, then the system starts to succeed. So I think for me, the problem that comes with some of these entities is they are so good at one layer of it, but they forget the other layers that are needed to make that relationship or ecosystem work, which is trust and making sure that you can be able to show your credibility. Because remember, even when we are lending to Popote,
Yeah.
we are lending to them
Based on
as a customer.
Yeah. Not
so,
a friend.
So they need to build their credit history with Pezesha, just like a bank.
Yeah.
So if that credit history is broken, then we have to make the decisions that we need to. Yeah. We either have to, make sure that we do the next steps of that conversation. We have to go back to underwriting processes. We have to. It's a lot.
But you got into this similar problem with market force.
Did you? I mean, seriously, you came to just get the tea.
No, but it's two sides of the business. So there's one side, which is the good side of the business. You're helping out business, you're disbursing credit. But also, what you say, you can forget that also collections can be had. So it's good to know the good side of helping
absolutely.
business.
And there is a tough side.
The tough side of where getting back the collection becomes a problem.
Yeah. So what do you want?
What happened at Market Force?
What do you want, Chris?
What happened at Market Force? It's just good to know.
It's there. It's out there. I mean,
there's a tweet. Remember, we even talked about it in one podcast.
Because there's my understanding of what happened. There is the public's understanding, and there is now actually what happened. There's surely three sides to a story: is what happened, what God says, and what the devil says.
I mean, if you brought Tesh here to ask him as well, so maybe there's a fourth side of the story.
We should welcome. We should invite Tesh.
No, it's okay.
To come and say
It's okay.
So I think my
if I wanted to invite him, I would have. It's okay.
Market Force, what was in the public was trying to resolve this matter without going to the public. Yeah.
Okay.
And the short version of it is, as I told you, we had a partnership with Market Force, which was to lend to their retailers and we provided working capital to them as a business.
Okay.
The retail side, we had no problem.
Okay.
In fact, that's really the forte of our business.
Yeah.
So I think from the learnings we've had, we wanted to support in goodwill on the working capital because they were waiting for some of their funds to come in. So we said we don't want their working capital to be affected because, of course, it was going to affect
the downstream.
the retailers downstream. Yeah. So it was just really a good, endeavor at that particular time to do. So when we did that, it worked. And by the way, we didn't have a problem in the early stages of that relationship when we provided them with working capital. I think what happened in the last couple of years, the last 2 years, was they were going through their own issues as a business, and there was a breakdown of communication.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
Blue ticket.
there's a lot of questions exactly that we should have, that we should have possibly been aggressive. But I think, we are partners. We've come in to work together. So we didn't necessarily want to, overstep because businesses go through...
as you keep saying, it's a business.
Exactly. Yeah. Businesses go through ups and downs. So we really took our time. As I think Tesh also did mention in an article that there was a lot of patience from Pezesha.
Okay.
And we took a lot of time before we went into court. And as I said as well in that same article, is litigation should never be the first thing you look at. Unless you can't agree,
but
unless
it's when
there's
people take you serious. To be quite honest, I
never mind it.
I'm like,
I agree.
That's when you get their attention.
I'm like, let's go. I'm trying to cover conversation. Let's go to court.
I fully agree, but sometimes it's a way of solving, but the intention is not to
it's not.
to get the person in a situation whereby they cannot run their business. I think the goal is, and at least for us as Pezesha, let me speak for ourselves. One is we have governance.
Yeah.
And we have processes, and we've put processes to say if this does not happen, this happens.
Yeah.
And so we followed that process. And we have an entire compliance team, as I said, that does this job.
Yeah.
The second thing is we have investors
Yeah.
who their job is to give us debt. We on lend.
Yeah.
They need their money to be paid back.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do we get money back?
By going to court.
Exactly.
Honestly.
And so remember, if we don't pay that money, we are not also able to raise more money.
Yeah.
So the idea is to just make sure you can collect. Yeah. So when we try to find ways to restructure the loan, they didn't get to to a place where everyone was able to say there's a solution. And also remember, there was a breakdown of communication.
Yeah.
You cannot solve anything without communication. Yeah, but I think the last thing I would mention also is when our legal decided to take this matter forward, we had a lot of interventions on the table from market force side as board members and also from our side as board members. But those interventions seem to have hit the wall.
Yep.
Because of the fact that there was many other things and not just Pezesha in the equation. Yeah, if you have employees and you have other things that you are dealing with, you are dealing with suppliers, you are dealing with logistics. You see, the thing about like our business in Pezesha is we are not dealing with all these pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You focused on like
Just lend money.
So if you are in that business, that retail business, which I have opinions about in terms of trying to do everything, because that's where it also goes wrong and it breaks exactly.
Problems,
and you are trying to fix all these issues. Pezesha is not your first priority.
Yeah.
Until they go to court. Pezesha is not your first priority. So I think that's really what happened.
Yeah.
There are other creditors, for sure. So we were also not the only creditor.
Yeah.
So, all those conversations had to plane. We had a creditors meeting. It did not go anywhere. So anyway, in that spirit of trying to reconcile everything, it didn't. So then we took a stand. And the stand we took was doing what is right for Pezesha.
The business.
Yeah.
Okay. And so according to the article, said it's now resolved.
Well, I mean,
just knowing that now.
You've been reading too much.
It's Chris. I think that article, I'm like, man, too long. Summarize.
I know.
Too long
So you've been
narration.
reading too much and you've been writing too much.
It's good to have information.
So you're going to have to balance sometimes. But I guess that's why you have me here. But yes, we have resolved the matter.
Okay.
This is a process.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would not say here in this podcast that we are fully done with the process.
Okay.
Yeah. But the intention and the goodwill to resolve is there because everyone needs to move on.
Yeah.
Life has to move on.
Your business has to move on.
And our business has to move on. Yeah. So
you have
when
to
we
get paid.
exactly. Yeah. So I think it's there out that market force is folded. And so we had to now come in and look at what is possible.
Yeah.
And we were given the opportunity to come in and we did not say no. I think because we are in business and we want to make sure that we also look at those opportunities instead of saying, oh, no, we've gone to court. Let's just wait and see.
Yeah.
So we didn't close our hands. We just said, let's go and see what is going to be the likelihood of recovery. So when we went in, we saw some assets that were in relation to our business and where we want to get to and the distribution. So really what we got or acquired in that process was the assets that are very important to us and as we look at scale as well. So we took those. It's a process, as you would imagine, to get everything integrated.
Okay.
Kenya and Uganda, both countries. So I think that also is good because they also looked at other markets where they were and where they had value.
Okay.
And they had built value as well. So again, we want to move on.
And
and
move on.
and I think I think people call it the next chapter.
It took me a second.
People call it the next chapter. So we move to the next chapter.
And we're waiting.
Yes. We move to the next chapter. So I am like, we move to the next chapter.
So now Chris has brought the teas. Any other hot questions you have about?
No, I think that's it.
No,
for the
I
teams.
think that's it. But the only thing is, I think after COVID and now the drying out of funding, I think a lot of the social commerce, e-commerce, logistics businesses went down. I think more than half of the businesses that went down were in logistics. How did that affect your business?
Yeah, no, I think the beauty about our embedded finance model, even in the early days, is we diversified. So we didn't just really go into this logistics e-commerce. We had a very strong infrastructure that can really move from one sector to another.
Okay.
So immediately we started thinking about the traditional value chains that had much more sticky, customer base.
Yeah.
Of course, it takes a bit of time compared to the digital landscape of value chains. But trust me, I think with the right funding we had at the time, as I said, it was just right timing as well. With the right funding, with the right people, with the right infrastructure, I think everything worked for the good of our business. So we really didn't feel the pain. Of course, the fact that those digital businesses were affected, it really shrunk our disbursement a bit, but it really didn't rob away our scale. Because again, with the traditional value chains, they came in with a lot of numbers. So even if you had one, you had, that distributor in Babadogo, and you were starting from scratch and they came in, their numbers were so good and sticky. And their customers are not going away. We know how those guys in Babadogo operate. They sit in a long stool and they're just like, they don't do anything else. They leave the logistics to someone else.
And I always say small businesses are the heartbeat of this.
Exactly. So
Africa.
Exactly. So I think for me, what the digital value chains can learn from the traditional value chains is really just do one thing and do it so well.
Amen.
Why are you going to start Sijui something? You are now farming, you are doing. There's a lot.
Do one thing. And do
there's
it right.
a lot of things to figure out in a value chains. So really the most important thing is to figure out what am I really good at in this value chain.
So I think getting there are several players in the value chain. You can be, I'm a logistic expert. Do logistics.
Just do logistics.
I'm the funding partner. I'll do the funding.
Just do the funding. And we've seen even some of them starting to do credit. And the only problem with that, is like, the margins are very thin for that industry. When you start to do credit and you don't know, it's taken us 7 years to we are still understanding credit. And by the way, credit for us as Pezesha is not the end. It's just a means to the end. We're still building this ecosystem, remember, 2.0. So anyone who is thinking of credit as their revenue stream in these digital value chains, because their margins are so thin and they don't know how to do underwriting, they don't know how to, to run a credit business, things starts to break.
So what's the next addition for Pezesha?
I think with the work we're doing this year, a lot of scale, a lot of challenges, a lot of data that we are interacting with, which is going to inform us. I think what our customers are really asking for right now is in this ecosystem to just have additional financial services beyond credit.
Like what?
Insurance, investing. They also want to have financial education. Because they are learning new things every day. They're learning about their credit scores with us. And they are like, hey, I really didn't even know that I can grow my credit score. And Pezesha has helped me to grow my credit score.
That's cool.
So we are just like very fascinated with the fact that, this Mama Mbogas and the story of Rose is what really inspires me, because to continue with Pezesha, it's been a lonely journey, really, really, as a solo founder, it's really
It's hard.
it's a lot of mental health. I mean, my therapy now has become yoga every morning at 4 a.m.
That's good.
And it's still not enough. But the story of Rose is what really inspires us. This lady is a grocery business owner, very small, nice grocery, and she serves almost the entire of Gatwekira in Kibera. And this guy is like, buy from her, and she's basically put very nice structures, and this was the credit we gave her. Now what she's done is she's gone all the, they call regions in Kibera, and opened up, like her grocery supermarket.
Oh, she's like created branches.
Exactly.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
And serving, and she's employed people.
Oh,
She's
beautiful. Yeah.
taken her kids to better school.
Yeah.
Oh,
In Makini now.
Oh, wow.
okay.
That's good.
It's just amazing. Like
This is through credit.
this is through credit.
Okay.
And so, she has definitely used it for the right reason.
Yeah.
And she has empowered her entire community, and now she's growing. And she's asking us, what else can you do for me?
Yeah.
What else can you do for me? So for me, and for Pezesha, I believe it's really, how do we grow more roses?
Yeah.
To
I
the
like
next
that as well.
level.
For
Yeah.
roses. Yeah.
What do you have? Some people criticize that when you talk about fintech in Kenya, in Africa, the first thing and the only thing is lending.
And
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's the
Please, and they come and talk to me. Because if you're getting in fintech because you think lending has money,
Nah.
oh my God.
As we've heard from your stories for
better,
collecting.
I know, you better think twice.
Yeah,
Because lending is, to be honest, is a bad business. Sounds very oxymoron because I'm sitting here and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
running a, I've said credit is not our end. And
Yeah,
that's
okay.
really not what we're focusing on. We're
That's good
using
to know.
credit to be able to help the small businesses and
Yep.
help them to grow up the Pezesha ladder. And I think lending is, a lot of people think lending is, I'll put interest, I'll get my money, I'll charge a bit more. My friend, go to Marikiti and see how many Shylocks are actually
Yeah.
competing with you every morning at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
At actually 30% per month.
Whoa.
Really?
I kid you not.
Damn.
And these guys are taking that credit because why?
Yes.
They know this Shylock, and the Shylock knows that this person is going to come to Marikiti and does not need a credit scoring
Yeah.
engine. Yes. you know how it works. Yeah? Does not need a credit scoring engine. Goes to Marikiti and was like, hey, I know Hungary is coming at around 4:30.
Yes.
She's about to come. And you start actually coming
that
towards
point.
that Shylock and you're coming to pay. Puts the money there. By the time they leave Marikiti, oh my God, they have a lot of money and they go and put
Yeah.
it down their mattress. So you're not just competing with banks, and you're competing with so many other people
Yeah.
who they will kill. I mean, and you don't have that visibility of the holistic credit behavior
Within
of Rose.
Rose,
Yeah.
that individual,
Yeah?
yeah.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is to really try and educate Rose, which is
yeah.
what we do at Pezesha, is you really genuinely want to grow your credit history and your credit worthiness to the next level.
Yeah.
To
a point where hopefully you don't need credit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, I like to joke to my team and say, it's almost like going to hospital or looking for a therapist. It's like, the kind of questions they're gonna ask you, it's like, do you agree, do you accept that, you are going through this issue,
Yeah.
over indebtedness. Like those people are really, they have been, I
Yeah.
mean, over indebted by the current system. So
Yeah,
to
it's
your
true.
point, whoever who starts a lending business, literally, in my view, they haven't done their research. They are, from a face value, they're gonna fail. First, they should know that they are just gonna fail. And then there's the third thing is like it takes a lot.
time.
It's an infrastructure play
Yeah.
to really get it right. So lending is never and should never be
Okay.
the
Would you
business.
see Pezesha as I could come in, build my credit history with Pezesha, and then take that history to a bank or another institution to get lending from somewhere else?
Well, I mean, Pezesha is not necessarily shouldn't be your stopgap to your growth. We give you a credit score as Rose. You grow your credit score. If you ever feel you've gone to a level where you want to be, you've outgrown Pezesha, why not? Because remember what I said earlier, is our forte is within a certain niche.
Yeah.
And what we do really well.
Yeah.
And we sort out your inventory credit. We sort out your value chain credit from the distributor to the retailer. You get to a point where you say, okay, now I need to buy a tractor. Now I need to get into a corporate building and hire employees. We might not be able to support you there, but we have partners. We have financial institutions we work with and banks as well, where we say, you can go there. But Rose knows if she ever needs inventory credit, she knows where to get it quick, with no pain, and she will serve her customers when they walk in very well. And the only place where she knows she can get that is Pezesha.
Lovely. Nice. I guess changing gears to more of a
No tea.
no tea. It's not tea. Chris has done the tea with the sugar. Just around how you cope with like just speaking to you, I can imagine you have a lot. Like, how do you cope with everything that's coming at you? What do you do for your well-being and your peace of mind? And do you feel like you've sacrificed things in your life? Yeah.
I've sacrificed my life.
You sacrificed your life.
My heart, my soul, and my mind. I mean, on a serious note. It's everything. Yeah, so I think you can't really put a price tag to the sacrifice of entrepreneurship. It's one of those things like, especially if you're building a scaling business where we are, is you're like, okay, I thought it was going to be easier because I set up a good foundation.
Yeah.
I have a good team. And sometimes it's also just things start to change, and your vision it doesn't change, but it becomes bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. You now have much more data to make more informed decisions. You're going through hardships, rejections, so many things. So I think for me, there's nothing like work-life balance. Work-life balance
Chris always says that.
This is so coincidental because I was
always says
Instagram. There was something like forget about like life work. Just
There's
find what you
nothing.
like doing.
Yeah.
and do it.
and just do it so well. So my life has been imbalanced. And I have accepted it.
And you've accepted it.
Yeah. And I've done this for now almost 14 years.
You don't get burnt out or...
Of course, those are the things you have to watch out for.
Yeah.
And so I'm very good at watching out for those things. I think now more than ever.
I have a joke.
Tell me.
It's not appropriate, but
It's appropriate.
Oh, really?
Someone asked, what's the difference between a light bulb and a programmer?
Light bulb? I don't know. What
Because a light bulb stops working when it's burnt out.
Oh. Not in my house. I think they're still working.
The difference between a light bulb and entrepreneur is that a light bulb will stop working when it's burnt out.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur will not stop
Continue,
working
I
when
know.
it's burnt out.
That's a good one.
Really? But anyway.
But I think also as you go along, you're going to have to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
I think for me, in my first startup, I wasn't. You're young, you're like, I have so much energy. What am I doing if I'm not? I'm not in campus, going out and having drinks. Now what do I do with my time on Sundays? I write code.
Yeah.
And then you think it's a hobby, but then it's work.
Yeah.
So, I think for me, in Pezesha, as we've continued to grow, it's been much more intentional. I'm not getting any younger, of course. Then you're like, hey, I need to change my life. I need to start doing certain things differently. I need to think about this. I need to spend more time with my parents. They're not getting any younger as well. And they're in Nairobi, and I don't get to see them as much as I want. Yeah. And so, I honestly, for the last 2 years, been very intentional about it. I read the signs of burnout.
Yeah.
Like I think when I did the last round by myself.
Oh,
No transactional advisor. We did it internally,
Whoa.
of course, with my capable, awesome team.
Yeah.
We cracked it in 2 months. But you can imagine,
Yeah.
people are putting it out there. Pezesha has raised, and Hilda is actually burnt out.
Burnt out. You don't even want to see
not
that.
exactly.
Yeah, you're like, I wish you knew.
I know. I'm like, because I remember when that article went out, I literally was like, I'm done.
Oh.
I'm done. I can't look at my laptop because I was
Yeah, I
tired.
can imagine. Yeah.
And so you're going to have to really, I think it's from then that I realized I really need to take care of myself. Yeah. So, so it's, for me, it's been very intentional. I do a lot of yoga. I do yoga every 4 a.m. in the morning and meditation.
Wow.
I try as much as possible to break out quarterly.
Like when you
just
say
to
breakout, just
disappear.
go to Diani. How comes you haven't
Well,
gone to
not
Diani yet?
Diani. I need to. I mean, I don't know because maybe Diani is not my thing. But I'll
Go to
tell
the
you.
forest.
I'll tell you what's my thing. I really love farming.
Oh, interesting.
So
Strawberries? Or?
yes, I'm farming strawberries in
Cool.
Tigoni, and I'm farming baby corn and onions in Kitengela.
Oh, nice.
Everyone tells me bad idea, but it's worked so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get away from Nairobi when I'm
You go
going to,
farm
yes, I
strawberries.
love farming. And I also like just, driving out of Nairobi. And I mean, we have a beautiful country.
Yes.
And you really don't know until you get out of Nairobi.
Yeah.
So really just
The
try
air is
to
fresher, the people
absolutely
are nicer, it's greener. Yes.
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 And I was like, the other day I was telling my parents, I was like, when was the last time I literally went to Kisii? So I was like, I'm gonna drive to Kisii.
Oh, wow.
Because you don't want to know when was the last time I was in Kisii.
Yeah.
Because
You have no reason to go.
yeah.
Your parents are here. So.
And also not even that. I mean, that's where I come from, but it's also a question of just where do
Your
I come
roots.
from?
Yeah. You gotta know your roots. Yeah.
I mean, what am I gonna tell my kids?
Yeah.
So things like that. So, I've just been also very curious about, what's happening here, what is going on here. I do a lot of hiking.
Nice. Hiking's great.
I do a lot of hiking, Karura Forest. Every Saturday I try.
My people. Yeah.
Yes.
So nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's really what I do. I mean, Diani, I don't know.
Just try once.
I
assure
will.
you to be.
It's not that I haven't gone to Diani, but I always I get very irritated with heat.
Oh, got you.
I really struggle. But people are like, you're kidding us. Like the heat in Diani is just really, it's not. It's an okay heat. It's a fun heat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, like the only thing I would be doing in Diani is sitting next to the ocean and meditating.
Yeah.
And really just thinking about life, which is exactly what I did.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, any time away from my laptop
Yeah.
is awesome. So that's what I'm doing
And
intentionally.
you can turn off. Can you look like?
Oh, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all because sometimes like you're like, okay, there's this one thing that I really need to complete.
Yeah.
Before the week starts. Yeah. So that I can just have a good week. And then you realize you're working on Sunday. You're working on Sunday, you're working on Saturday.
I guess sometimes you have to like lock your laptop somewhere just to ensure that you're not.
Let me tell you a story. So one time I was like, I was going with a friend for holiday, and the idea was no, certain rules. We wrote the rules, and you're like, lock the computer, confirm no computer in the backpack. Do you know when we arrived, the first thing I looked for was a laptop. I bought a new laptop.
You bought.
Wow. I couldn't. It was an addiction. It was like
Went and bought a laptop.
I went and I bought a laptop.
Oh my god.
Like I was like, what's the cheapest laptop here that I can buy to work?
Oh wow.
And I remember like, we're in Diani and I'm like really sneaking out to go work.
You're a workaholic.
I used to be.
Used to be, yeah.
Now I am not.
You're a recovering workaholic.
Yes. because it's so integrated.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really hard. Yeah, it's really hard to sometimes put that definition into abuse, because sometimes you're like, this is my purpose. This is what I love to do. If I'm not working on Pezesha, I'm mentoring SMEs. I am talking to students in Strathmore. I am mentoring. I'm still like in my purpose because most of these guys are going to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of like feel like my life is somehow integrated with the stuff I'm doing.
Which is nice. Everyone's
Wherever-
looking for that in
Yeah.
life. So
Have,
yeah.
have you ever seen this cartoon where they show, I think it's a programmer sitting in office and his mind is in the ocean. And then he goes to holiday, then his mind is
in
back,
that
he's back at work.
So I think you're lucky in that.
Oh man,
Yeah.
and I think my view is, I've been in the journey of finding my purpose, and I think I finally did.
Yeah.
And that's why I really enjoy what I do, and I do it with a lot of passion. And sometimes I'm like, can the passion like start to just lock itself so that I can move on to the next thing? But it just continues
It
to
just
grow.
continues. That's
Yeah,
nice.
so that really confirms when you're in your purpose. Like if it's just growing, it's like, oh my God, this is just an ecosystem that will support me in my next life, that I will invest in my next
Yeah.
life, that I will work with to build the next big thing. So it's just a continuation.
Nice.
Yeah. You need to have a nice house in Tigoni as you farm, and then you come to Nairobi once in a week to give talks and look at what's going on, and then you go back to Tigoni.
When I grow up.
So any other hobbies or
Yeah.
interests that you have that
Wow, I'm an introvert, by the way. I mean, a lot of people think I'm an extrovert. And because maybe I get to go to a lot of events and invited or whatever. But in my best happiness moments is when I am reading a book in a quiet place. And currently I'm reading a book by one of my role models. She's called Anne Borden. She's written Banking on It. She started Stanley Bank. I mean, who starts a bank?
maybe you next time, maybe you in your other life.
Man, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I won't do that. But I really like to read, especially from people who've done it before.
Yeah.
I get a lot of motivation. It's almost like therapy for me. Because also like I get a lot of encouragement and looking at life differently, even from a work-life balance kind of thing. Beyond that, man, I'm just a very boring human being.
We love boring people. Chris and I always say
Yeah.
boring is
There's someone who said the boringness will save you.
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, boring. If you want to be the most exciting person, I think our parents used to tell us, look at the most exciting person in high school.
Yes.
Where are they now? Where are they now?
Where are they now?
It's the boring people who are thriving.
I know. No, my life is very boring. I think also like as Pezesha continues to grow and scale, I have a very awesome team.
Yep.
Honestly, they know what they're doing. They're very, very proactive. There's no like
That's nice.
micromanaging. So
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what do I do now? So it's now really thinking about how do we package our story to get closer to our vision. Now it's starting to do interesting stuff, financial education, getting, the right partners, mentoring. I'm spending a lot of my time doing outside Pezesha kind of calling, like mentoring.
Oh, nice.
I was recently appointed there as an advocate for the UN.
Oh, cool.
So
Congrats.
thank you. What that means is now I have the platform to even do it at a global
More,
scale.
yeah.
That also excites me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's a bit boring.
When I grow up, I
Yeah,
want to
we
be
want
like
to be
you.
Oh God, you better be careful what you wish for, because you'll possibly end up in Madare. Because sometimes I kind of like feel like I feel like mental health is something that we as entrepreneurs really don't get to think about it oftenly.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we are going through certain stuff.
Yep.
We are going through certain stuffs, and because of the sacrifice and everything we're doing, and the things we have to think about, people, investors, what is broken, what's going on right, the sense of happiness is very limited.
And what is happening?
Exactly.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so I also feel like, for me personally, like just really mental health is something that I am constantly thinking about. And how can I find help? So I am asking for so much help of late.
That's good.
Really, I think that's my the way I look at it. For me, I think it's just really my strength in terms of the courage where it's gotten. It's now another level of strength.
Yeah.
To just show
That
that you are
shows a
willing to say,
vulnerable-
I
yeah.
don't want to burn out.
Yeah, I don't want to go through this.
Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love that. Good on you. Keep it up.
Someone should start you mentioned this before, like founders.
Me, I'm trying to do
Founders
it.
are what? Mental.
Like
Mental
just something
health.
around wellness and
but
mental
you think
health.
people will be
Well,
open to
I think so.
really?
I think there's the ones who have awareness.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
no,
said.
absolutely.
Like,
No, I would
I think
definitely
even
take
Sonia,
that.
you
I'll
know,
take
when
that
we talked
class.
to her, she's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm aware of this. That could be an issue. I need to do something about it. But they need that self-awareness.
No, I fully agree.
And mainly women. A man.
I know.
It's true, man. Like,
Men,
by the time you understand,
I know.
bro, there is an issue. Like,
the men will hit the bar
yeah,
and drink.
which is not a very healthy way to
Yeah,
deal with these
yeah.
things. Like, honestly.
No, especially now more than ever because of
Yeah.
what's happening in the market.
Yeah.
If you look at the current situations and companies closing shop, you know, and all that, in my view, you know, if it's a male founder, they do it very differently, which means that, you know, until shit hits the fan, then you start talking about
I
things.
mean, we can see, like, for example, okay, I shouldn't say that. Yeah. I was going to say another stuff, but let me just
Yeah.
zip my mouth. So it's like, bro, I think you should.
See somebody.
Yeah, pause.
I know.
Yeah, you know, like.
But generally in life also, men are not good at asking
yeah,
for.
it's very true. Especially an African man,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then-
you deal with your problems internally,
which is very
with this.
sad.
Yeah. No, we need to.
You need to be
yeah.
able to. Yeah.
Yeah, it starts from acceptance and accepting that you need help and seeking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I fully agree. I think
Yeah.
someone needs
Someone needs to.
to take that up.
Okay. I guess. Would you ever let Pezesha be acquired?
Wow.
Someone offered you some really good to be.
Well, I mean, you know, like I'm very open
Good.
because everything at the right time, at the right price, with the right people.
Everything at the right time, at the right price,
at
the right people.
Absolutely. If those three things work,
Tick, tick, tick.
let me tell you, everything is possible.
Yeah.
So we have big ambitions, and I
Yeah.
think now everything is coming, is happening. You know, you go through hardships, you come out of them, and I like to say we've been on a journey of resilience, and now our resilience is starting to pay off,
Yeah.
and we're starting to see that this year. And if you ask me, I think that's usually the verge of, you know, the vision coming together when the resilience is starting to pay up. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities and possibilities. You know, we are working with so many partners who are really looking at synergies in different ways. You know, we are definitely thinking of, you know, other possibilities. I mean, why don't we have companies listing?
Yeah,
Have you ever
true.
asked yourself that question? I mean,
The,
there's
the
a lot
last
of people
the
who
last
talk
time I
about-
read about that, I'm not so good at that financial analysis, but someone mentioned that there's too much strictness from.
I mean, you know, of course, a bit of a big ambition, you know, listing outside. But in any case,
That's only
of
Jumia that
course.
has done that, right?
Yeah, Jumia has done that. We've seen a couple of other companies.
Nigerian.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we should see more companies listing. I think we should see more African companies listing.
Yeah.
The only way to build local capital markets is we start to get more SMEs, which is what we are also doing. Imagine our SMEs who have been funded by Pezesha growing to the next level of a
Yeah,
bank
wow.
and now going to list to raise money. What kind of a
would be
beautiful
amazing.
story. That would be
Yeah.
amazing. So Pezesha doesn't have to be the only one giving credit. It has to be a journey
Yeah,
of growth
true.
to this SME. We want to see them, okay, you've come to Pezesha, we've built your credit history, you've grown, Rose. Now you need capital to go grow branches from here to other counties. You know, maybe we might not be able to understand that risk better. Go to a bank, yeah? You have collateral now to give. Now you've become so big, you've employed so many people, You have branches across town. You are now a big, you've started your chain of Java, for local coffee lovers like myself. You say, I need bigger money. I don't know how to do fundraising from VCs. Go list.
Yeah, I think listing, apart from Europe and the US, maybe it's Asia, China, or Japan, listing has almost been dead in Africa.
Yeah.
We need to revive it.
But clearly there's an opportunity.
There is an opportunity. So we don't want to rule out that opportunity from where we sit as Pezesha. And of course, lastly, I think there's definitely a lot of things we are thinking about with the products we are building. We continue to build what this could evolve, what it could become. Let me be very clear. We're not a bank.
Okay.
And we don't want to be a bank.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's good.
So at least I know what I don't want to be.
Need to sell,
Anything else? Possibilities.
But not
need to sell Pezesha, become the first tech billionaire in Kenya, and fund other startups.
Yeah. We'd love that.
We are profitable. We grow dividends. We fund other startups. So what I'm saying is possibilities are many.
Many. Especially when you're successful.
Absolutely. And if you do it right, I mean, challenges notwithstanding. Of course, I'm not saying that we haven't made our own fair of challenges and failures. They've been there. The good news is we're very, agile in the way we work. That's why we've had a lot of pivots in Pezesha. And we are conifers. So we refuse to die. And we are looking at the long-term picture.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I guess, lastly, do you have any entrepreneurial, wisdom to share with any of our viewers? We have a lot of people who are entering this journey.
Yeah.
And, just give them one piece of advice.
Wow. Last chapter or first or third?
We don't know where we're up to now.
I know. Now we've written the entire book in this podcast.
Yeah.
But I think I'll break it into two. For fintech entrepreneurs, because that's where my journey has mainly been, is build a trust foundation.
But isn't that for any business, honestly?
It is. It is.
Trust is
trust is really it. But with the moving pieces that come in the fintech space, regulation and all that, I think there's much more of trust that is needed. It's a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
For aspiring young entrepreneurs, I think the key thing is just really focus on believing in your passion, because at the end of the day, that's the currency you have at the beginning. Anything else, money, people, only come after that currency has been put into work.
All the best.
Thank you.
Always, of course, rooting for our local founders and startups.
Amazing.
And yes. Thank you so much for coming on set.
Thank you for having me on a Saturday. I was like, if I send another SMS to Wangari,
Keep trying. Don't worry. I don't give up easy.
I was like, well, you have resilience. Which is great, I mean, naturally, you attract people who are similar to you.
Yeah.
People who have resilience, people who, really push on.
Yeah. You have to in this world. That's all
You have to. So thank you for having me.
Wow. Loads of wisdom, insights, laugh, some tea with sugar in this one. So guys, please make sure to subscribe, share, comment, let us know your thoughts. And if you're an SME looking for services that Hilda has mentioned, please make sure to check out Pezesha. Bye.